kiddos, Bigs. Today we are going to talk about blame-free living. But first, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Allie. This is
Sally.
Celicia.
Finn.
Finny.
And Noah.
Novishka.
I'm Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
So, what do you guys think I mean when I say blame-free living? Any thoughts right off the bat?
You don't blame people for the way your life is going.
Maybe not actually just blaming everything that happens to you on everything else, but actually take fault and blame yourself.
Perfect. So you nailed it. Blame-free living is all about taking ownership of your life. And there's a lot of different ways and kind of layers that this can come into play. So the first thing that I know we talk about on a very regular basis, especially with our littles, is owning your behavior, right? Owning the way that you act. Just the other day, Amos came up, he got in trouble because he was screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, Elijah made me scream because blah, whatever. And why is that a poor way of thinking? Elijah made me, Noah?
Because no one can make you scream.
Yes. No one can make you scream. Obviously, someone can be a jerk to you, but who decides the way you react to that? You do. And that seems like a really basic thing, right? Nobody's head is exploding, oh my gosh, I've never heard this before. But to actually live that way is taking a really high level of ownership over yourself. And you're like, okay, this person is being unkind, this situation's happening. I could freak out and I want to freak out, but I don't want to be that person. So I'm gonna own the way I react and take full ownership of my behaviors. Never blaming somebody else for the way I'm acting, because who decides the way you act? Yourself. So that's one of the first ways that we can take blame-free living and actually live that way on a daily basis. Another way to live blame-free is to really own the results in your life. So Noah, you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but have you guys ever had something in your life where you don't like the way it's shaping up? Mm-hmm. What would be some examples of results in your life that you don't like?
A bad test score.
Bad test score. What else?
Or getting cut from a sports team.
Yes, that's a great example.
Maybe if your room was dirty but you just didn't want to clean it.
So your environment is not what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking of friends. I know each of you have had frustration with friends at a time, whether it's a lack of friendships that you you want more friends, or you want a really good friend, or your friends just not being there for you, not really showing up, not being good friends. So that's all about other people. Why is that something that you should take ownership for yourself? How would you take ownership of the quality of your friendships?
You're the one who chose them as your friend.
So maybe you're choosing really poor friends. Finn, what else?
Maybe you didn't put enough into the relationship.
Mm-hmm. You're not showing up the way you wish other people would show up for you. Maybe a level of just even being proactive in building friendships or building relationships, or pouring into it. If your relationship with every person had a little piggy bank, think about how full would that piggy bank be if you thought about every time you do something kind for them, it puts a coin in the piggy bank. Or every time that you do something unkind, it takes a coin out. Think about relationships that way. And one of the ways, if your relationships aren't what you want them to be, think of that love bank. How often am I depositing money into the love bank? Have you ever thought about it? Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be helpful to think about with relationships?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last way that I really see, and there's probably more too, that we can really embrace the blame-free living, is owning our future. And this is similar to our results, but it's at a higher level, a bigger perspective. We really need to think about like what we want out of life, what's important to us, and then conduct ourselves in a way where we're going to get that from life, right? Have you guys ever felt like just in general, like life isn't exactly what you expected or what you wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about friendships. Is there anything else like that comes to your mind when you think about your future? And you're like, I would have thought I would have had this by now or done this by now. Is there anything like that for you?
Not really.
I know one thing. Can I tell on you? Can I talk about it? Like
Sure.
playing sports, playing football. That's something you've really wanted to do, right? And we talked about it this last season, but how many days in advance did you tell us you wanted to try out for football?
Like maybe like 4 or 5 days.
It was more like 3 or 4. Do you think that you were like taking ownership of your future in that instance?
No.
So that's one thing where it's like, if this is something you really want for yourself, if this is something that you really want for your life, let's plan for it. Let's be proactive in it. Because it could be easy for you to be like, well, my parents didn't let me play football. And not own the fact that you gave us 4, we'll settle on the number 4. You gave us 4 days to try to decide, get you signed up, pay all the money, like get all the gear, all the things. It just wasn't enough time, right? You could blame us, or you could take ownership of your part in it, right? What is it gonna do for you if you just blame us?
Kind of just shows that I'm trying to get the easy way out of it.
Does it benefit your future in any way, shape, or form?
No.
What does it do for your future if you take ownership?
It'll maybe like help you be more honest with yourself, maybe, if that makes sense.
I think it is absolutely about being honest with yourself. So if we're just always making excuses and blaming other people, can I change anything about what other people do? No. But if I'm taking ownership and I'm being honest with myself and I'm saying, you know what, I procrastinate and I don't plan ahead well. That's my problem. Is that something I can change? Will that change my future? Absolutely. So blame-free living is all about taking ownership, not to beat up on yourself and be like, I'm a horrible person, but to realize like, I didn't get what I wanted, but now I know how to, because I was honest about what I did poorly and what I did well, and now I know exactly what to change to get what I want in the future. So it's kind of like a life hack, right? It's actually a pretty good one. So that is blame-free living. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe to see more whiteboard sessions.